Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever episode of Remember Rewind. Now, this is a new show, of course, so I'm going to tell you what this show is all about. Every single week, I'm going to try to have a new guest on here. And what's going to happen, I'm going to ask them about an assorted movie, book, or television show, just some sort of media that made them either get started into the career path that they've got, what inspired them to either love film, all of this good stuff, or just something that made them want to change some aspect of their life. And I have a very, very special guest on here. I was honored and privileged to ask him to be my first guest on this show. And it's my great friend, one of my best friends. Say hello to Mr. Zach Pope. Zach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. You forced me to be on here, so I guess I'll be on here. So that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, obviously that's what happened. I forced you to get on here, didn't I?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. No, I'm doing good. I'm ready to talk about this. We'll see how this goes. So
okay, good. So Zach, first of all, I gotta ask, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Wolf of Wall Street. Duh. I love that movie. It's my favorite film. I've seen it. I watch it once a week. I used to watch it every single day when it was on Netflix. They took it off.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know the film used to be on Netflix, so that's new for me.
Or maybe HBO Go. One of the two. It was on one of those two, and I'd constantly have it on. But I love that film so much. I own like 4 copies of that movie.
Really? Wait, so is there a steel book for Wolf of Wall Street? Because I know for a fact that you're very big into holy smokes. That's DiCaprio's face.
Yeah. There's a better steel book, but I refuse to pay like $50 for it. But I own like 4 copies of this movie.
I mean, that's phenomenal because
a steel book, Blu-ray, and a DVD copy.
That's dedication right there, my friend. And I mean, it's actually kind of cool that the steelbook it looks almost similar to the book that the movie's based on.
Yeah, that book's amazing. That book's amazing. I read that book. It's great.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick it up at some point. I haven't had a chance to read it, but this isn't about me. This is about you, Zach. And so I guess we'll just get right into it. Zach, what is a movie, book, or television show that has impacted you in some way? And how did it impact you?
Okay, so there's quite a few that have impacted me in my life. So I can't like necessarily just say one. The one television show that really got me into filmmaking, though, in general, was Breaking Bad. It is one of the best television shows ever made. But the thing is that when I was watching that show, there were so many things that I'd never picked out before, where you could say the symbolisms with color, like the coloring of people's clothing, the coloring of different things, and how that affects their moods, and how like much detail went into that, and how many episodes are actually in the whole show in general. That's the number of episodes, like 62. That's the 60-second periodic on the periodic tables, like the certain element for like meth or something like that. And it's so much thought got put in that show that it got me obsessed with filmmaking. And that really started me appreciating film more. But really, the thing that, ever since I was a child, my favorite thing was going to the movies. It always felt like a treat because my parents didn't take me that much, surprisingly. My grandma was the one who took me a lot. My parents took me to see Toy Story 2. I don't really remember. The first one I actually do physically remember going to the theaters and seeing was Jimmy Neutron. I just remember going the first time. Yeah, like I remember I'd seen films beforehand. Like I'm pretty sure my parents took me to see Iron Giant. They took me to see Toy Story 2, but I was too young to remember it at that time. Like I would watch them at home when we got them on DVD or VHS at the time. But Jimmy Neutron was the very first one I remember seeing, and that's where it all started. My grandma would just take me consistently. I'd have to beg her. I begged her to take me to see Tropic Thunder. Don't even ask how. I begged her to take me to see The Town, which was like that was harder than Tropic Thunder, surprisingly. The Town was one of my favorite films too, but I would beg and beg and beg and beg and beg her to take me to stuff, and she would always take me. She took me to see Transformers. She took me to see Iron Man. She took me to see Spider-Man. The first one was we went to a drive-in theater. And little old Zach wasn't watching Spider-Man. No, he was turning around watching fucking Spirit the Horse on the other screen. But it's
Also
weird to
great
say I
choices.
don't have a movie, like one film in particular that made me want to change or anything. Like Wolf of Wall Street motivates me in some weird ways. It does. I love that film. But if I'm looking at a film that really just I watch now and I'm like, man, this is where it all started. It's the first Toy Story. It's one of the best trilogies ever made. It's one of the best films ever made. I will argue that until I'm blue in the face. It's great. I mean, Star Wars is fantastic. I grew up with Star Wars. I grew up with Lord of the Rings. I grew up with Indiana Jones. Surprisingly, though, people might be surprised to know this. Star Wars actually isn't in my top 10 of all time. Sometimes Empire Strikes Back can get in there, but most of the time when I do my top 10 list, it's like ends in like the honorable mentions, like top 15, top 20.
Gotcha.
There's just so many damn good movies out there that end up popping itself in there. Predator, I remember being so fascinated with the Predator when I first saw it. Gremlins, I used to think they were real. I was so entwined with them. Goonies, all these different adventures, because I've always looked at film as a way of escape. And I'm not just saying escape from like life, well, kind of, but an escape into a different world where creativity has like no boundaries, and it's just great. And I mean, like I also grew up playing video games all the time, and that was a big thing. But I was just such a huge fan of movies, and I always constantly had Toy Story playing on in the background at home. It's something special, man.
All right. Now, those are really great. And there are a couple of things I do want to bring up because I know there are two particular films that you have pretty decent experiences with. Number one is The Incredibles.
Yes.
And number two is Deadpool.
Yes. Love both of those.
All right. Now, as far as the Incredibles story, I know there are a lot of people within this internet space that know about you, that you love The Incredibles, you love Deadpool. I don't think they know the associated story behind why you love The Incredibles so much, considering how many times I would say you were kind of forced to watch it because of where you were at the time.
Oh, well, so there's two different things to it. So one, I did see Incredibles in the theater for the first time. My dad actually took me and my best friend out of school at the time when it first came out because everyone else was getting taken out of school to go see this fucking movie. So I begged my dad, he took us to see it. He took me out of school 3 times to see a movie. Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie, which I own.
It's great. Great choice.
Incredibles and Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which is the only Star Wars film I ever saw in the theaters. Well, besides the newer ones. And I saw A New Hope in the theaters too. But The Incredibles, yeah, so we took him. I love that film. Then to be honest, I didn't watch it for a while. Like until I probably was at like 16 when I got my first job at this fucking place called Amazing Jake's. There was a movie room. And we had like 8 movies to pick from. So we had Cars, Amazing Spider-Man, The Incredibles, Home on the Range. I don't know even why they had that Disney film there. G-Force. Yes.
Oh, Nick Cage as a
Up.
hamster.
Did I already say Cars?
Yes, I believe you did.
Cars 2. So anytime I was put in that room, I'd put Up on. I'd usually have Cars on in like one of the backer rooms and The Incredibles on. And every time I just put The Incredibles, sometimes I'd put The Incredibles on every screen. And every time these kids would be like, why can we switch it to Cars too? I literally say this to their face. Get right in their face. And I'd be like, hey, Jimmy, listen to me. Fuck you. You don't work here. You don't know what the fuck I'm doing here.
Oh my gosh.
This is the only film I can rewatch that doesn't make me go insane. So fuck off. And little Jimmy would run away. Probably like 4. I literally, dude, I called the kid the C word once there. I was so pissed. My last day there, this kid comes up and I'm being nice. I see his ice cream in his hands and I go, oh, like, do you want me to take that from you? Little girl throws it at me. And I said, and I literally said, you fucking cunt.
Jeez.
Dude, I've done some stuff there. Dude, I
Done
worked
some
there one
stuff.
day and this lady changed her fucking baby on the table.
Now, was this like a public table where people
Yes.
went around?
Yes. Threw the diaper on the floor. And so many kids stepped on it. It got smushed into the floor and just disintegrated. Shit everywhere. Shit everywhere.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Like, if anyone's seen American Vandal season 2, that's the brownout there. And you haven't seen it yet, but the brownout is when every student in the school got diarrhea at the same time and pooped everywhere.
Jeez. I
That
mean,
show was
wow.
so good.
I mean, it's no surprise that you don't work there anymore. I mean, that's insane. I mean, but that's incredible at the same time. So while you were working there, you got an obsessive love for The Incredibles.
It wasn't an obsessive. It was the only way to survive there.
So you managed to survive by watching The Incredibles, and then you had your experience with the children, and then you found your love in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, so first time I saw that film, now, like I said, it's my favorite film of all time. First time I saw it, I was really disappointed in it. I was like 3 hours and that's it. But then I went home and thought on it more. And I kept thinking on it, and I kept thinking on it, and I thought, and I was like, oh my God. I literally turned and I remember, oh my God, that is an epic. Like, epics are like Lawrence of Arabia and whatnot, but this was an epic to me. It is one of the first, it's one of the films that the runtime never bothers me. 3 hours, just like that, gone, just goes past. I love it. Love it so much, man. And I just became obsessed with it. I loved it. And my dad took me to see that film too. Surprisingly, he didn't fall asleep. He falls asleep in every film.
Well, it's great to hear. I mean, the film is powerful. Film has some incredible stories, and it's great to hear yours for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think we are coming up on the end here. But if there's one thing before we get into your plugs, if there is one movie that you could suggest that everybody should see besides Wolf of Wall Street, what would you recommend people see that maybe they haven't heard of before?
So I'll go with like something obviously in the movie realm that's not obscure, but I think if you're just a casual moviegoer and you happen upon this video, or a movie that people should watch. Actually, I'll give a couple. One, Big Sick. That's in my top 10 of all time. Love The Big Sick. It's
Great
one
choice.
of the only films that make me cry. Second, a skateboarding film called Lords of Dogtown. It's one of the first films my dad ever showed me, and I loved it. And then third, I mean, damn, like the third one. I'm like thinking on one. One that people probably have not heard of. Surprisingly, I'll go with this, and you'll be like, well, why is that? I'd say Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, because it's not everyone has seen it, like you, who just saw it. Not that long ago, so.
Oh, geez, I knew you were going to throw that in my face. Just like for everybody who's watching, I just recently watched The Wolf of Wall Street, probably like 2 weeks ago at the time of this podcast being up. But those are some fantastic choices, man. And this has been phenomenal. It's great to hear these stories, and it's great to hear your love of film. So before we wrap up, Zach, tell everybody where they can find you. Plug whatever you want to.
So you can plug me in, or plug in me at YouTube at Zach Pope, or go over to Sandwich on Film's website and check us out there. We give out advanced movie screens. You can also check out some movie news by me and movie reviews. Eventually I'll be showing up on the Phoenix Film Critics Society's website, so that's cool. I just got accepted in there. And Twitter at Pope the King. That's really, if you want to talk to me, that's where I'll reply back. I post some stuff on Instagram, but I never see people's messages on there because I don't know why. I'm bad at that. So, but thank you guys so much for watching this. You guys are seriously all the best. I appreciate each and every one of you. And Cody, thanks so much for having me on, man.
Yeah, no problem. All right, guys. And just to let you know, this is a new show. I'm going to do my best to make sure there are new episodes with new guests up every single week. But you guys are all the best. And if you want to follow me, just look up _Cody_Curtis or just Cody Curtis at pretty much every social media link that you can think of. You guys are all seriously the best. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next time.